Welcome to the EaglePod, the podcast where we uncover the inspiring stories of Albanians who've conquered challenges and have soared to new heights. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Valentina Juncaj, the founder of Vajzë. Vajzë, which means girl in Albanian, was launched in 2016 with the vision of embodying the multifaceted nature of women. Valentina, born in Montenegro to Albanian parents, drew inspiration from her upbringing in a culturally rich environment. She observed the qualities shared by inspiring women across different backgrounds and sought to encapsulate these qualities in her designs. Valentina's leadership at Vajzë reflects her deep commitment to empowering women through style, making an impact in the fashion industry. Join us as we explore Valentina's entrepreneurial journey, uncovering her experiences, insights, and the inspiring story behind Vajzë. We look forward to learning from her expertise and discovering how she is shaping the future of fashion. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to speak with you today.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm so honored to be here with you.
First off, can you kind of share with our listeners what inspired you to start Vajzë and how your upbringing influenced your approach to creating a brand that embodies femininity and strength?
Yes. So I actually don't have a technical background in jewelry at all, but it was always a part of, my style and my day to day. And I just really loved it and enjoyed it. So as far as the jewelry part, well, I just loved styling. I felt like it was just a way to express myself, in anything that I went through in all seasons of my life. Like that really helped me feel more put together. I've always just been attracted to like styling and accessories. And there was an era, I feel like maybe 2016-ish, where I feel like, jewelry was like a bigger deal to me and like accessorizing and like especially statement pieces. And so I really invested in that. And then I started to have like, I never considered myself this like style, person that you went to or this like icon. But then I slowly had my friends and my family come to me saying, "Hey, I'm going somewhere. Can you help me style this?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, of course I can. Like, please." I got so excited. Or then they'd ask to borrow things
Yeah.
and things like
Well, that's
that.
when like
Yeah. I was
everyone
like, "Oh,
considers you that. It's not something that you can just give the title to yourself. Like other people have to
right.
see that in you. And
You're
so,
right. You're right." So I know I thoroughly enjoyed it just putting my outfits together. I mean, even, this was when I was, working in the corporate world. So I just enjoyed dressing up everywhere, really. I did this at school, any kind of events, dinner. I took that opportunity always to dress up and accessorize. And then, I had the friends and family ask me first for styling advice and specifically like jewelry and accessories. And, then this was something that I'm like, "Oh, okay. I would love to help you with that." So that's just always been a part of what I did with my, wardrobe and fashion sense. And I also felt like accessories just really leveled up what I was wearing. So I've always been like, I may have been wearing more florals and like crazier styles, but I felt like accessories just took it to another level. And especially like with the corporate attire, right? So I feel like that's just a little bit more subdued, classic. So I felt like the accessories was just really something where I could show my fashion sense, even though, it's just like wearing a blazer or like a collared shirt, right?
yeah.
So I've always been drawn to that, and I didn't know it was something that I could make a career of. Like I said, my degree, I studied finance, so I have a bachelor's degree in finance. I always loved being creative. I was drawing ever since I was a little girl. Like I would draw everything. I would make clothes for my Barbies. Like me and my cousin would do that. So
Oh.
I was always drawn to creating, but I never knew that it was a career for me, right? And I even took studio art classes in high school, but I was like, "Oh, this isn't something that I can actually make money from."
Yeah.
So it was interesting that I felt like I had these two worlds really balanced because I was still good with academics and in school, but I didn't think that I could, draw for a living.
Yeah.
It really was not in the realm. This is pre-social media, you have to understand.
Yeah.
So, it was there. And I think I only thought of it until, I had friends and family and other people reach out to me. And I was really like still intrigued by this because I was working in something completely different from fashion and creativity. So I was like, I could really do this as like a side thing and an outlet for this other side of me and my personality and what I really am drawn to. So it was me and a friend that started. I'm like, you know what? And it was always a long time goal. Maybe one day I'll own a boutique, and that's just, going to be my little
Yeah.
passion project. But I didn't know it could be so close in the near future. So I did brainstorm with my friend, and at first I was just selling already made um, jewelry pieces. So I was just basically curating like a little online website. And this was just, okay, we're going to start this. I knew nothing
Yeah.
about, of course I have my degree in business,
Yeah.
but I didn't know anything else about, I started the LLC, where to find these things. I created my own logo, my own website. Like this was all from scratch. And we're like, let's just see how this goes. So I did start something with a friend of mine because we both were interested in this. And then it took off, and I'm like, wow, I really loved this. I loved making people like feel good. I really loved, helping them find pieces in the collection. And so it really took off from there. That ignited like a huge fire for me. So that was pre-Vise, mind you. And then, that dissolved. It just wasn't working out with the business relationship between me and my partner. But I was like, I have to do this. Like, this was just such a passion of mine now that I'm like, I have to continue this. And then this is where I started. Well, I want to design my own pieces now. I really want to learn more about this because I was always tinkering and soldering and doing little things and putting jewelry together and made my own belts and like sewed buttons on my shirt and random stuff, but never fully like designed one, entire jewelry piece. So this is where I, stepped back, and I took about 2 years to really start Voice. This is where I was just looking into, how can I make this, working with other artisans and metalsmiths. And I was like, what do I really want this to be? What was I inspired from, in the beginning? And this is where I looked back on why I really loved maybe dressing up, and it was really our heritage, right? I just feel like in our culture, well, back in the time of when you see the Jubilate and all the gold,
Yeah.
and just really what we do for our events, we celebrate so many things, and we take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Very an extreme because, we just find so much joy in like hosting and celebrating these moments.
Like we go big or go home.
That's
That's
exact
it.
and I love that. I'm like, I realized like that's really where that stemmed from. It's like if we're gonna do it, we're very glamorous. And I was very much, I realized, inspired just by the women in our culture because this is where I learned and how I put together like how we're so multifaceted, where, we can do so many things, be, the backbone of these families, host, cook, clean, and then we're also, these really glamorous like queens when
Yeah.
it comes to these events and look amazing. So I really wanted to capture that somehow in my collection. And I didn't know how it was going to come out and be communicated. So I really lived in my head for a long time, just drawing, drawing, drawing. And it took me a long time to come up with a name too, because I knew, you know, um, I was very much inspired by the Albanian heritage and our culture and just our women. I was like, what can this be? And then it just like clicked one day, and it was going to be Voice, and that was it.
Wow. I love that. And you also have boar jewelry now?
Yes,
Like
yes. So
what
we
is
have Bor, which means man.
uh-huh.
And that came, I didn't know I was going to get into men's jewelry, but that came just by like a lot of requests, and people were really interested. I'm like, okay, I really love to do this, and I want to make sure that like encapsulated like what I wanted. The same thing for Vise for men too, and for Bor. So that started by just, people were really interested. I'm like, okay, I want to design something a little bit different. That's a little bit more like understated. I have a lot of the Albanian heritage stuff in Bor as well. But I feel like they're definitely more like timeless classic pieces with Bor. And I just feel like that better represented, that brand.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I was just knowing that I was going to interview you. I looked at all your jewelry. This is the first
Thank
time that
you.
I've like heard of Vise, and you kind
Oh,
of introduced us. And so
okay.
I was looking, I was like, oh my God, like these are like the classic Albanian pieces that any
Yes.
girl would want. Because I always try to look for like Albanian eagle jewelry, sort of Albanian inspired jewelry. And you had like such a nice, elegant collection.
Thank you. Well, I know the classic,
Yeah.
Albanian
Yeah.
eagle flag outline, and that is great and
Mhm.
amazing. And a lot of people make that. And I really, when I launched that, so that was a couple years after I initially launched Wise. I didn't start with Albanian heritage jewelry. I started with more like trendy stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I just felt like with the name Vajzë, I needed to do something for the heritage as well. So I really took a while to think about what I wanted that to look like because I did want something unique. I really wanted to take pride in like more unique designs.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm all about, wearing any jewelry that you like. And I understand that there's other designs out there, but I really wanted to do something different.
Mhm.
And so I did start with a different eagle design,
Mhm.
which I didn't know how people were going to react to, but I was like, this is just a play on
Yeah.
creativity. It's very tough to balance the line of like having your
Mhm.
traditional heritage and making it look like it always has, and then just really playing with like being a little bit more
Mhm.
artistic. So I wasn't sure how people would react to it,
Yeah.
but I think it was positive. And so I really wanted to just try and create something different. That's all. So something different than what you've traditionally worn or what's been done in the past, but I just wanted a modern take on it and something different coming from me. And I wanted it trendy.
Yeah.
like everybody else can wear, you can wear different culture pieces and it could be just mixed into like a trend.
Mhm.
And so I just wanted that. Like I wanted other people than Albanians to really appreciate the design and just maybe shine a light on like our culture and
Mhm.
heritage and see that it's, something beautiful and trendy that anybody could wear.
Yeah. I love that. And so
Thank you.
how do people usually pronounce Vajzë, the
Oh,
non-Albanian?
don't ask. I don't even know. I mean, sometimes they just approach me and just say, "How do you say it?" I'm like, "That's the best way."
Yeah.
I knew it would be a challenge.
Yeah.
It is a challenging word, I understand, but I was going to stick to it. And I
Yeah.
really wanted to make sure it's pronounced the way that you pronounce it in Albanian because
Mhm.
I've seen us water down
Yeah.
Albanian words, which
Yeah.
is fine. You do whatever it takes. But I knew my brain was just going to be more visual anyway.
Mhm.
So, I started more on social media. I knew it was going to be much more visual as opposed to something that you would just need to pronounce the word. But I wanted to be able to see a jewelry piece and just know it's Vise
Yeah.
as opposed to worrying about the pronunciation. So I knew it was going to become a challenge, but I still loved the name. It represents me, represents the jewelry. So I
Yeah.
was like, we're going to stick this out. And so still to
Yeah.
this day, of course, no one can pronounce it, but
Yeah. How
yeah,
important is social media in promoting your brand? How did like a couple years ago, I feel like wasn't the same as social media is today, like with
right,
TikTok, Instagram, and everything just kind of blew up.
right.
So,
Well, I started on social media. I really
okay.
used that as my platform as a way to actually find my community, engage with people.
Mhm.
So it was really important to me to be on social media as a way to just organically grow.
Mhm.
I didn't use, advertising or anything like that. It was just I really started there as a way to find my people and people who wanted to wear this type of jewelry. So it was really important to me. That's really the way I grew and what I focused on as a way to reach out and, like I said, find community, engage with
Mhm.
people, make sure. And it was just a lot closer of a way to communicate with people as
Yeah.
opposed to, email and don't get me wrong, I also love in person. This is the way I get to actually meet with people and they can like see and touch and feel and style things, which is what I've always wanted. But it was a way, people could message me and I could respond easily and I could talk to them. So it just felt a lot closer and an easier way to actually communicate with everyone and engage with an audience. So it was really important to me. That's really where I focused my energy. Of course, I had the website.
Mhm.
I do, in-person pop-ups because I am mostly online. I do all e-commerce
Yeah.
and sell online, but that was a way I felt like was the best way to be closest with my community. And it has changed so much. Mind you,
Yeah.
I've been around for 8 years, so it's still like changed a lot in that time. It was just more, I mean, this was pre-TikTok, right?
Mhm.
So this is
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram. Obviously there's so many other like platforms, but those are the major ones that I
You have
chose
brand
to.
ambassadors now, right?
Yes,
Too. Okay.
yes. So I do have, I mean, they're on their own. They
Mhm.
they they are great on their
Mhm.
own and they
Yeah.
they really like vouch for me too. But yeah, I do work with some people around the world just to work with me on being a brand ambassador for Wise as well.
Is there any way people can apply if they're interested?
You could reach out to me.
Okay, okay.
There's no formal thing. It's just been, if we've maybe had like a long-term
Uh-huh.
relationship and if they're interested, for sure. But it's just been like organic in here. And lately I just started that. But before that, it was just, people just being so kind to just share my brand, and that was amazing and I appreciated it. So I've worked with influencers and other like local celebrities, if you will, and like the Miss Americas and Miss Universes of the world, which is awesome. So that's been like amazing and just like organic. But yes, if you want to be an official brand ambassador, you can definitely reach out to me.
Awesome. So you kind of hit on how challenging it was to kind of start your brand at the beginning, like even before Vajzë, where you just started your online shop.
Mhm.
What was like the one of the biggest challenges you faced with Vajzë, and how did you overcome that?
It's a great question. So I would say there's different challenges in the different parts of a business. So I feel like when you're just starting, everyone thinks that's the greatest challenge of just figuring out maybe logistics of how you're going to do it and how are you going to get your reach. And I just feel like that's the first hump that I
Mhm.
faced. Of me, this is what I think I was challenged with most is, how am I going to start this? How am I going to get these designs basically out of my head and on paper into a physical piece? And then are people going to actually like it? How are they going to react to it? So that's like the first challenge, right? I didn't know how it was going to go. I really was just fearless. I'm like, well, I really love this and I want to put this out there for people. And that was the first thing. But then as you grow, then I feel like there's just new challenges each season
Yeah.
of this. And now I just find my latest one is I just want to make sure that I'm continuing to
Mhm.
still carry on my mission of just making people feel great about it and helping people in some tiny way in their lives, make them feel good,
Yeah.
make them feel more confident wearing, my pieces,
Yeah.
and just supporting, giving them that little boost of their dopamine in their day.
Yeah.
Really, because, and I mean, I'm obviously supporting other endeavors like
Mhm.
nonprofits and doing that. I want to make sure I could support in that, but somehow, bettering people's days with their jewelry, making them feel confident. So now I just want to make sure that I'm staying on top of like my designs, keeping them fresh, supporting like my community. Um, yeah, and continuing to like support women really.
Yeah. I love that. And who was your biggest supporter throughout all this? You talked about you
Oh my
supporting
gosh.
women and all that, but like it.
Well, I have been so grateful. I mean, with I wasn't sure how the culture was gonna receive this.
It could
So I
go
was like,
one or two ways.
"Am I gonna get" yeah, I'm like, "Oh, we're not gonna" so I've been really appreciative. Well, first, I mean, my family and my friends have been so supportive, so I'm so grateful for that, right? And I think when you launch a business, a lot maybe some people have the, vision that their number one customers are going to be family and friends, and that's essentially not your target audience. I mean, maybe if they fill that, demographic of your audience, yes, and your customer, but that's not going to be the target. And if you think you're going to be successful just only in your friends and family, you need to reassess this.
Yeah.
But I've been so grateful that they have been supportive in their own ways, of course. So that's been great. In the beginning, I asked people to, drive to the post office for me and things like that, or go share something. So I'm always appreciative of them first and foremost. But then just like our community, they've just organically shared it. Like, Emina Chunmulai, she actually like purchased like on her own, just put in an order. So I was like, that is so
I love
amazing. She
that.
could get free things
Yeah.
any day from any brand. So she's actually purchased from me. So I've just been really like overwhelmed with gratitude when I see people just like naturally sharing it and just send me the sweetest messages, out of nowhere. So I've just been so grateful for that.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. Shout out to
Yeah,
Amina.
I know.
I always
She's
hear
so
she's the
great.
sweetest. Yes, and so
She's a
great.
real one.
Yeah. Today's fun fact will be highlighting the icon of the Albanian folk costumes, the zhubleta. The zhubleta, a traditional Albanian dress, was closely woven into the fabric of everyday life for women in older generations. It held deep significance within their communities, serving as a symbol of cultural identity. The connection between women and the zhubleta was deeply personal. with the knowledge of its creation and importance passed down from mother to daughter over countless generations. Traditionally, a woman would begin crafting her jubleta in preparation for her wedding day, wearing it as she transitioned into married life. Over time, it evolved into more than just an article of clothing. It became an embodiment of a woman's journey, heritage, and identity. And now, back to our guest speaker. I've seen on your social media, there's a new collection you guys are launching, sea-inspired ocean mermaid.
Yes.
You gotta talk about that a little bit.
Yes, I know. I have my moments. Honestly, like the collections are really just how I'm feeling. So it's very real to me.
Okay.
So for the summer, I launched it was the Siren collection. And I launched it maybe a year and a half ago initially. And it wasn't even around the time of summer. I just felt this mermaid vibe in the winter time. And that's when I launched it. I know.
That's such a vibe.
Yeah, it was just my vibe. And I felt really like drawn to that. So I've mostly been like very much a gold and a metal girl. Like I haven't really swayed away from that until people requested maybe more silver, and so I wanted to make sure I was giving some things to people and what they're interested in. But then I got really into pearls, and then that's what launched the Siren collection. So I just added to that because it is summertime, and I just felt so much more drawn to that during the summer, and so launched many more new pieces for the summertime. So I feel like it's just like a trend right now. And when I'm in the mood of summertime, it just made me feel that way. So I'm like, I really wanted it for these times, but it's lasted so long. Like I said, I launched that a year and a half ago. So I just feel like my jewelry, I want to make sure it transcends trends. Like you can wear it anytime, really. And I want to make sure it's not so trendy that this is going to be out of style in a year, and for you to not be able to wear it. So I want to make sure that you could still continue to wear these pieces.
Do you have a favorite collection?
Oh my gosh. It's like asking my favorite child.
One that screams you. One that's Valentina.
I know, right? Well, okay, I'm drawn to two collections. My first, very, very, very first collection, so it's sentimental, right, is the statement collection. So that was just very statement-y, very wild, so many crystals, so many designs, so many unique things that I felt were really cool, and still one of my most unique collections, I feel like. I haven't restocked because I've just been trying to do new things. So the statement collection and then the heritage because, the culture. So I love all my Albanian eagle designs. And so I'm definitely drawn to those just because I feel like, I took a lot of time with them, and I feel like they're very unique to any kind of Albanian piece that you would see.
I love that. I know I'm gonna purchase one after do this.
All right, let me know which one you like.
I wish I'd purchased it beforehand so I could show off all your jewelry.
I know, right? Need some eagles. Well, I just feel like sometimes they're not as I have bigger eagle pieces that are very like obvious statement pieces, but I feel like they're a little bit more like subdued. So if you don't want to be too out there with the eagles, it's a good collection.
So in the context of your business, what does success mean to you?
Great question. So when I initially launched, I felt like success to me was, a lot of people receiving this well, and they enjoyed it and they really loved it. And, of course, I wanted to make a living from this, but I really wanted to make sure like a lot were actually liking this, and there was huge awareness. And now I feel like if I can help one person a day or like make them feel good about something or make them connect to it and have this like memory with it, that makes me feel better. Just because I realize like I don't need to always help the masses. I really want to do it one by one. And if I can do that and still, make a living from this, then I feel like that's successful. So when I hear like little stories, like I'll just tell you like one story. This woman, she DM'd me. So social always her DM. So she DM'd me and she shared with me that she was wearing one of the Albanian eagle pieces from the Heritage Collection. I think it was the coin, and she was traveling. I think she was in Greece maybe. And someone noticed it, and they were Albanian, and, she didn't know that they were Albanian too, but she just felt called to it. She's like, "Oh my God, this piece," and was complimenting, and they connected and talked about their culture. And she gifted her the coin. And so she's like, "I just really wanted to share the story with you because it was just really cool that I met somebody else, across the world." And I was like, "Oh my God, that is so amazing that, this piece can be just a conversation starter, get you guys to connect." So I really love that. That was just valuable and that was successful to me, that like a jewelry can really, create this like moment for people.
That's what's most important too is people connecting through
Hmm.
your brand, your jewelry. I know when I see that Albanian eagle necklace, I'm always like,
I love it. And like in person too, what makes me feel like when I started doing more pop-ups in person, and I have different people coming in and sharing, and I've connected other people, and they've made friends, and I was just like, wow, this is really amazing that we're connecting in person around something that we all enjoy.
yeah,
So I feel like that's been really amazing to see, and I'm happy to have been a part of that.
yeah. It's so funny because you're reminding me of it's just every time we're going places or something, and I'm like, wait, are they speaking Albanian? Or like, wait, is that our flag on
I know, I love it. Yeah.
or like in the back of the cars, you see like sheep or something. I'm like, oh my
Yes,
God, they're
yes.
Albanian.
Yeah. Well, when you think about it, I felt like before, like I said, this has been 8 years. So I've
Yeah.
seen like even things with like cultures like just change over
Mhm.
this amount of time. And
Yeah.
especially in our culture, because we're not as well known in the world. Like still a lot of people don't know where, Montenegro and Albania and Kosovo are on a map. And that's okay, but I'm happy to educate them. And it is a conversation piece, even when I'm wearing my, shupa in one of my pieces. But it's interesting because before I felt like because it wasn't as well known, let's say in the Western culture here in America too, specifically, it wasn't like cool, or maybe it's cringy to wear something like that. And now I feel like it's gone so different. It's swung the other way, and you're like, we're so proud to wear it. So I just really want to be a part of that and support that,
Yeah.
for people to feel like cool to wear it and not like
Yeah.
shy to be representing,
Yeah. Be
where
proud.
they're from. Yeah, and be
Yeah.
proud of that. It's such a different mindset around that, and you don't want to seem some sort of way, but that's why I wanted to make sure these pieces were like trendy and still
Mhm.
representative of like the times, of course, and be proud of what you're wearing.
So we didn't really touch on your Albanian background, but I kind
Yeah.
of want to talk about that. And
Yeah.
like, did you grow up speaking Albanian in the household? Or I don't know if sometimes it can
Yeah.
be difficult to, keep our
Right.
culture here because we kind of get assimilated to America.
Right. I feel like this is a very similar story for anybody of any
Mhm.
immigrant
Yeah.
background, right? Even when they're born here, is like I feel like you're not ever American enough, but then you're not ever whatever your cultural
Yeah.
background enough. So it's always a very challenging balance, in my opinion. And I was actually born in Montenegro. So I came here when I was around 5 years old. Somehow I learned English, no idea, and then I went into kindergarten. So this is why I have no accent, no anything, because I got assimilated right
Oh,
into
wow.
American
Okay.
culture. So I'm the oldest in my family. So I have three other siblings. And because, my parents were coming here, obviously, when they're much older, and I was the oldest, we were still very much in the Albanian culture, but I felt like they were really pushing me. It's fine to get assimilated into like, the Western culture and speaking English, because they also wanted to learn from me, right? As a
Yeah.
child, you learn so much quicker. So I was supporting them with like translating things. And I'm sure every immigrant child can understand translating
The
documents for them,
documents.
filling those papers
PTSD.
out. You need social security numbers. Yeah, exactly. So they were very much all about, because they wanted to get assimilated to this as well. So it wasn't a thing where they forced, because I know a lot of people I know that, they only spoke Albanian at home, and then, English outside of the home. But that wasn't the case for me. So I really had to get dumped right into American culture right away, because I started school and I was supporting them. So we still did a lot of the cultural stuff, of course, our gatherings, and I saw my family. We have a lot of, family here in Michigan where I live. And so it was still a balance, but I didn't feel super connected when I was younger. And then when I was older, I kind of understood it more and maybe become more aware of it, and just maybe got into more of like the culture and learn more about it on my own, because it wasn't something that was always talked about, like I said, because I just feel like being an immigrant and my family wanting to, work and live here, we really were really more worried about like getting assimilated here as opposed to like maintaining that culture. So I feel like once we got settled is where we were more like, okay, this is important to remember like this heritage. And it's not like we weren't the family that like went back every summer and like saw people
Yeah.
because a lot of my relatives were here. So there was really no, interest for my parents, to go back home and stuff.
Yeah. That was the
So I
same.
think older is when we were, even me and my siblings, we got more interested in like, learning more about making sure that that's a part of our daily lives and like the language and like, our heritage and culture.
Yeah, that was a similar with mine too. We brought
Yeah.
our relatives here. So for
Yeah.
my parents, there was like no need to go back. But in terms of like the language, um, it was so funny because like they wanted us to learn Albanian so bad.
Yeah.
I knew Albanian before I knew English, even though I was
Really?
born here. Yeah.
Really?
And
So
so
interesting.
I'm just kind of like just growing up. I was like, why didn't we why didn't we speak much English
I
in the home?
know, I know.
They're like,
So interesting. The other thing with language is that I've learned, I'm from Montenegro, and so we have a huge Montenegrin Albanian population
yeah,
here in Michigan. So I've only really spoke that and like saw those relatives
mhm,
and like around what our culture is. So like, a Catholic Montenegrin Albanian.
yeah,
And then when I was older is when I was really more exposed to, okay, there's so many other so many other dialects and the way like religion affects like our culture and our heritage in different parts of the diaspora of the Albanians is so different. So I learned that more when I grew up. And even going back to Albania, I'm like, oh my God, our dialects are so different. Even
yeah.
speaking to my customers and like my audience is so different and understanding that. So it was a whole new learning as I grew up as an adult, understanding that there's so many different aspects of our culture.
Yeah.
And yeah, the language is just so interesting to me. I'm like, no one can understand me and I can't understand them. And so it's just funny learning about that.
So my grandfather's from Shkodra and
Oh,
my
yeah?
grandmother's on my mom's side, she's from Korch. So growing
Okay.
up, like I got a sense of
Oh,
both
you got it.
dialects.
Yeah.
So
No, I didn't get that. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was like,
it's like
I'd
I
go
can't
back to them. I'm like,
understand
why
them. There's
can't I
some
understand? Now I've tried to learn more about that now that I've like been there and tried to change it a little bit in the
yeah,
way I say words to understand it more, but it's still a
it's difficult.
challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So
I love it. I mean, I love to learn that. So I'm so intrigued by it. Um, because it's still the Albanian culture. So I love that I've been able to like see that more. And even with social media, I get to see the different parts of the culture that I was never exposed to when I was younger and just
yeah.
see what other people do around the world. So I think it's so fascinating and I love
Social
to learn
media
more
has
about.
really brought that to light.
Yes,
It's so
yeah, it
nice to
makes the
see.
world a lot smaller and you can see all that. So I've loved that part about just really learning more about our culture through other people who I follow or who follow me. So that's been really fun.
One last question for you before
Yes.
we move on to our rapid fire round.
Oh,
So based on your journey with Vajzë, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs, especially those trying to start their own fashion or lifestyle brands?
so my advice would be I really I would say like, really focus on like what your core values are and your passion is about this because you're just going to be challenged in so many ways.
Yeah.
And like anything, I don't know, there's going to be ups and downs with it, and that's okay. That's the yin and yang, I feel like, of anything that you do 100% of the time, right? There's going to be challenges. So I would just have you ask yourself a question of, can I see myself doing this at 2 a.m. when I'm tired, when I'm
Yeah.
annoyed? Because not everything is going to be that way. There's like tasks that get you to the next level. And so I would say, don't be discouraged. So if you're going to dive in, I would say dive in 100% and go hard with it because there's no such thing as overnight success. So I would just really challenge you to understand that, okay, can you see yourself doing this for, whatever, 1 to 2 years, even in the challenging times, to really push yourself and really have faith in yourself. I think you just need to go in 100% and that's it.
Yeah. I
There's
love
no
that.
half in.
Yeah.
So really invest
All the way
in
in
it
or, or
all the
nothing at all. Yeah.
way. Yeah, or nothing at all, truly.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Now we are on to a rapid fire round. I don't know if you watched an episode on the EaglePod, but I basically asked
I'm
you
excited.
a couple of questions and you're supposed to
Okay.
randomly respond. So,
Okay.
are you a morning person or a night owl? Morning bird
Night
or
owl. Night owl.
favorite fashion trend of all time?
All time?
All time.
I really love 80s. I feel like everything was so bold and so many statement pieces. And this is where we saw like the huge blazers and a lot of the jewelry. So I love that. And like bold lipsticks.
Okay.
I'm all about it. Everything bold, really.
Everything bold.
Yeah.
Go-to outfit for a casual day out.
Casual day, I would say anything like a white t-shirt or white tank. And then probably like something denim. So either like a jean skirt, jean pants, jeans, and then I'd say like some sort of like flat shoe, but still cute. I won't wear sneakers all the time. Some sort of cute flat and then accessories, just accessorize it. So super basic outfit, but I would do accessories.
All right. Heels or sneakers?
Heels.
Favorite fashion designer or brand besides Vajzë?
Oh, that's a challenging one. I love Scarpelli. I think that's how you describe it. He's
Okay.
really like amazing with the huge, a lot of gold and very intricate couture gowns and tops. So he mixes in like the hardware and a lot of really cool jewelry.
Dream travel destination.
Dream. Where do I want to be? I've never been to the islands on the other side of the world, so maybe like somewhere like Fiji Islands.
Okay.
I've never been there, so that would be really fun to go to. Or opposite, I want to be in the desert, like Egypt.
Ooh, that's a whole different vibe.
I know. Something my two extremes. I mean, I already love like the Europe lifestyle and things like that, so I would say the other extremes of the world.
All right. Favorite Albanian song? Current Albanian
My
song.
gosh, really? What is my favorite song?
If you don't know the title, you can always just sing it.
I know. Don't make me sing. This is what the challenge. Okay. I like music. I love it's by Butrint and Kida, I think. It's called AM/PM.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Oh,
love
okay.
that song.
I
Yeah.
love
It's like
Richard
a
too.
two-part. It's a two-part. One's called AM, one's called PM, but it's still one song.
Okay. Best fashion advice you've ever received?
I don't know if I received it or read it somewhere, but I always tell people this when, even they come to me. I think you could wear anything if you're just confident enough and own it.
Mhm. I love that.
Always, like, just it, you really, people are like, I can't wear that. I'm like, why can't you just like own it? I think anything, even if you're wearing something so out of like the box or out of your comfort zone, I think once you own it, everyone will think that that just came naturally to you and that's how you dress or style yourself. So definitely confidence is key for anything that you wear.
Awesome. Favorite way to relax after a long day?
What do I like to do? I probably just sit still and be quiet and do my own thing. I don't watch TV or anything, so either podcast or I just chill out or I just go to sleep. So relaxing, it's a good word. I don't know how I relax, quote unquote. But probably I mean, I think relaxing is also family and friend time. I love to just like sit with others. But if I'm coming back from like a day of just being, very social, I'm probably just sitting in quiet and silence.
All right.
All right.
Favorite color combination?
I love neutrals. Anything neutral. Black, white, nudes,
Classy.
browns. Yeah, that's my go-to.
And then last TV show you binge watched.
Oh my gosh. I don't watch TV really. So the thing that I watch is really bad TV because it's my bonding time with my mom. So I
Oh,
only watch the terrible stuff because otherwise I don't like TV. I'm on social media so much, so I don't like to watch
Oh, that's
TV.
kind of like your TV time.
That's my
With your
TV
son.
time. And I just don't like anything nonfiction. I'm just like, I don't want to watch this. So what I will watch, say is Bachelor and Bachelorette. So
Oh,
bad. That's what I can't say I binge, but I actually am like committed to the
yeah.
season. I watch it with my mom.
Yeah.
What else have I watched with her? I'm trying to think that. And I haven't watched this Bridgerton, but like a couple seasons ago, Bridgerton, we watched together. That's
Nice.
it.
So, Valentina, thank you so much for sharing your insights and journey with us today. It's truly been inspiring to hear about your vision for Vajzë and the impact you're making and celebrating women's strength and individuality through fashion. And so, I was wondering, where can our listeners find more about Vajzë and connect with you?
Thank you so, so much for having me. I appreciate you. So you can find Vajzë, on our website, which is just vajze.com. On Instagram, it's vajze at Vajzë. TikTok at Vajzë Jewelry. I'm on Facebook, same thing, Vajzë Jewelry. But feel free to message me, email me on any platform if you ever need any help, advice, or just want to say hi. Definitely would love to say hi back and meet you all.